Hey, how's it going? Reagan Ram here with OrpheusAudioAcademy.com, helping you make better music and grow your fan base online. And today we're looking at how to create those awesome transitions in your songs between each of your sections. So there are really three ways to go about creating great transitions in your songs. But before I cover those, I just wanted to let you know about my free SYNTHWAVE drum sample pack that you can grab in the description below, or just go to OrpheusAudioAcademy.com/drum samples. And inside this sample pack, you'll find a bunch of different drum hits, drum samples that you can use in your productions, whether they be synthwave or other kinds of electronic music. All right, again, that's free in the description below. Now, with that being said, what are the three ways we can really create these transitions? Well, we can add something. This could be like a sound effect. It could be another instrument, maybe some kind of, noise, like a white noise uplifter or downlifter, something like that, or even just like a explosion or a one-off hit into our section. So we can add something. We can remove something. So you could have some instrument that's playing, and then as you get to your transition, you remove that instrument or multiple instruments to kind of have things kind of die down a little bit before exploding into the next section. And then the third thing you can do is you can change something up. So one of your instruments is doing one thing, and then as you reach your transition section, you have it do something else. So those are really the three things, three ways you can create transitions. And obviously you can combine all of these to create really big transitions. But oftentimes you don't have to do a whole lot. Sometimes simpler is better. Depends on the song. So here I'll show you examples of all three of these in this particular track. So my first transition section here I have is between the pre-chorus and the chorus here. I'm doing quite a bit here. I am removing the bass here. I am removing the drums. I am adding in this little sound effect here, and it's kind of a cinematic whoosh, airy transition kind of sound effect. And then I'm also adding in this little drum fill pickup here, right in the beginning here as it leads into the transition. So you can see what we got here. We got some snare hits and different stuff. So it's just a little drum fill. And so we'll hear what this section sounds like without any of these transition effects, and then we'll hear what it sounds like with them in. So you're probably like, ooh, it's a little jarring. It's kind of like doing one thing and all of a sudden it's doing another thing. So we can create this nice transition here by just doing a few things. So we can remove the bass, remove the drums, add in this little drum fill, and then add in this little sound effect. And now we'll hear what it sounds like. So that's much better. You can definitely hear the transition. You hear the bottom kind of drop out and the top keeps going. And then there's this big surge in energy with the sound effect there, and it hits. And I created some more movement by automating the panning on the sound effect here. So if we look at the panning, so you can see it starts off all the way left, and then it hits about center, right about as the chorus comes in, and then the rest of it kind of continues off to the right. So it creates some movement as well there to add some interest. And so that's that transition. So we added, we removed, and we changed something up here too, right, with the drums, with the fill. So that's kind of using all three. And then if we move on, we also have the transition from the chorus to the next verse. Here we did a change, and I think that's it. We just changed. We changed what the drums were doing, and we changed what the bass was doing. We didn't really add anything else, and we didn't remove anything that I can see here. So let's hear what this is doing. All right, so you can hear there's definitely a transition there. So the bass is playing this running, I believe, 8th note bass, and then it just holds out for a whole note. And there's a little bit of sidechain compression there. And then we have the drums. And that's all that's needed. And then I am wrong. I did add something here. I did add this little sound effect here that hits, actually not during the transition here, but as it hits the beginning of the verse, I added in a little science fiction sound effect, like a door closing thing. Let's hear that again. And again, I also automated the panning there. That's kind of cool. I kind of create sci-fi inspired music, so that definitely fits. I got this sound effect from Artlist. I have an Artlist account, so that has a whole bunch of tons and tons of sound effects you can download and use. So that's where I got that. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same thing with all my other transitions. I have a transition from my pre-chorus into the chorus here. I think that's about the same as what I did earlier. I just changed the sound effect. I'm not using the same sound effect. You can use the same one. I like to kind of change it up, so it's very similar. It's almost the same, but it also just adds in a novelty, something different that kind of, you know, perks up the ears and is like, oh, there's something new. It keeps it from getting stale. And then I also have my chorus to my bridge, and I put a sound here that's kind of decreasing in energy, right? So as you're transitioning to a section, if you're going to be using like sound effects like lifters, as you're going from one section to another section, you want it to be increasing in energy. Then when it hits that other section, you want the energy to be released. And so that's what I'm kind of doing here with this. Again, I have the bass just hold out for a whole note, and I have a drum fill here. And again, the saxophone too also kind of is playing a part in that transition. Oh, and I'm actually removing the higher end here. I took out the chords as well. So I took the last little section of the chords here, and I took out the arp and also the little pluck I had playing here. So I took out like kind of the whole high end. This time the whole high end goes away, and I keep the low end and the lead going. And that's about it. That's how you can create transitions. Just think about what can I add, what can I remove, and maybe what can I change in my instrumentation, and then mix it up, right? Do some different combinations. If you're removing the low end and keeping the high in one section, try removing the higher instrumentation and leaving the low end in a different part of your song. And this way, with all these different transitions in, it kind of makes the song feel like a cohesive whole versus just individual parts that don't really go together. So hopefully you found this helpful. If so, I'd love for you to leave a like. Otherwise, remember, grab that free drum sample pack in the description below, or go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/drum samples. And if you want to check out more tutorials on how to create synthwave music, just check out my playlist that's on the screen right now. Otherwise, have an awesome day and keep creating.